As I sat at the dining room table engrossed in my laptop, I heard my wife getting ready for a weekend getaway with her friend Bonnie. However, my mind was not focused on that. Kristen looked like a model walking off the catwalk as she came out of our bedroom. Her outfit, hair, makeup, and jewelry were all flawless. A big suitcase was being pulled behind her. I commented to Bonnie, "That's a lot of clothes for a sleepover." She joked, "You know what type of girls we are." "Before you leave, honey, let me show you this hilarious letter I received this morning. It'll be done in under a minute." She examined her pricey watch. "All right, but I'm running out of time. Bonnie knows she'll be picked up by me at precisely 10. I flipped my laptop to reveal to her the email that took me to the cheating wife's website. It advised me to search for cheating wife number 131. After clicking the link, I was prompted to confirm that I was over 18 by checking a box. When I selected the X in the yes box, a choice showed up. While I was scrolling down the page to Dasha 131, Kristen started tapping her shoe impatiently. The unfaithful wife's profile was on the cover page. Kristen Stanton was written in big black letters an inch high. A brief biography was presented after that. Kristen, a 30-year-old Gemini, resides in a condominium on the Magnificent Mile in Chicago. After 8 years of marriage, Kristen is childless. She uses a personal trainer to work out 3 times a week. Kristen would like you to click this link in order to view her stunning nude body. A square with the words "click here to enter" then emerged. Incredible coincidence. Her last name, Kristen Stanton, is exactly the same as my wife of 30 years, Gemini, if you add the letters A and O, who has been married for 8 years without having children, and who resides in a condo on the Magnificent Mile. I looked over to the right. My spouse appeared ghostly white. "Should I hit enter, honey?" I made fun of it. My wife just made the sound of an asthmatic gasp. That is to say, my 30-year-old Gemini wife, Kristen Stanton, resides in a condominium on the Magnificent Mile. She has been childless for the past 8 years of her marriage. Is it appropriate to hit enter? My voice seemed to have sprung straight from my heart. Was that a yes, honey? Tears filled my eyes as I hit enter. The television flickered to an image of my stunning wife, laying there on the bed, naked. Kristen said nothing at all. She spat all over the wooden floor, too sick to talk. I kept quiet too. "I can't believe this is happening to me," she eventually managed to say as another image flashed on the screen. "How much Kristen Stanton resembles you, wow. You even wear the same clothing. Recall that I purchased it specifically for you to wear on our 9th wedding anniversary. Look, our bedroom and hers even have the same design. The furniture, curtains, and bedding are all the same. What an incredibly strange coincidence." The next 2 photos showed her removing her high-end gown and tossing it to the ground like a rag. Her only clothing items were stockings, high-heeled shoes, a garter belt, and a lace shelf bra. "Remember how I surprised you with this exact pair of underwear, honey? Precisely like this. To put under that outfit, I even purchased you silk stockings from Paris. You said that those were exclusively worn by prostitutes. Therefore, I assume that the woman in the photos is a prostitute." Kristen curled up and started crying as she fell into a pool of vomit. I could see that she was wearing underwear because her dress was pulled up so far. This infuriated me even more. I commanded her to look as I held the laptop in front of her face. Over the course of the next 12 images, Kristen teased the public by taking off one piece of clothes at a time until her smile was all that was left. Her legs were shown in close-ups to complete the picture. 3 attempts. My Kristen Stanton called me a pervert for wanting to snap a picture of her in her underwear, so her husband is one lucky guy. Come on up here, honey. This bit of human garbage is depicted in 54 more images. Kristen gasped and put her arms around her chest. There was a shiver of wheezing. She stammered for at least a minute before she could speak. "I'll explain." "Please stop talking. Your whore wife's portfolio clarifies everything." There was another image of my wife in her undies on the television. "You've always had my trust. This is how you reward me for all the things a guy has done to make the lady he loves happy. Who are you sleeping with, slutty wife?" I insisted. She tried to catch her breath by coughing a couple more times. The corners of her mouth oozed bile. "Who is this son of a bitch that destroyed our marriage?" My anger made my voice waver. "Jim." You let that son of a bitch fuck you in our married bed, James Bowman, she shot back. I kicked the table violently. The orgasmic groan Kristen was making on the camera was muffled by a shriek. However, she no longer resembled the stunning woman on film. Her eyes were bloodshot and vacuous like a Halloween corpse, her hair untidy and makeup streaked and smeared. Her beautiful silk gown was damaged. Remember that our prenuptial agreement states that you will receive nothing if you cheat? You are not receiving anything since you cheated. You lying whore, get the fuck out of my condo now. Kristen gripped my ankles as she hurried to get me up. No, I promise that this did not occur. He and I have never even met. I stopped her babbling and said, today I was going to. You were about to meet him today. But before I could stop you, someone saw the photos of your whore wife and sent them to me. Right now you would be in bed with him if it weren't for that. Admit the truth and tell it. Indeed, but you also say you've never met him. How foolish do you believe I am? I'm sure you think I'm a bloody fool. No, it's, where did those photos come from if you've never met him? I lost control of my saliva when I rage. I sent him an email with them, yeah. What are you? You want me to think that you sent a man you've never met those kinds of pictures. As unbelievable as it gets. Yes, indeed, she stumbled to her feet. Next, respond to this. How in the world did he get a picture of you in our home when you've never met him? Within our bed? I growled, if you haven't met him before. The photos were taken with my camera by Bonnie. The Bonnie who promised to sleep with me if I gave her husband a job, our maid of honor. Our dear buddy Bonnie was the one I screwed. No, I told you everything as soon as it happened and made it clear that you were never allowed to see her again. You knew she was trouble, right? She destroys homes. You asked me to, and I couldn't say no to you since I loved you so much. So I gave him the job even after what she did. It concludes today. That piece of me that you killed. I don't care if they lose their house. Randy's ass will be eligible for unemployment benefits on Monday morning. Yes, I will tell him everything, I promise. I'm going to ruin her marriage just as she damaged ours. Kristen, aware of the consequences of her conduct, yelled something incoherent. Give your phone, laptop, and camera to me. I have never once checked you, thus I am unaware of your passwords. Put things in writing so I can confirm what you stated. I'll send those photographs of you to everyone and kick your ass out if I discover anything that leads me to believe you slept with him or anybody else but me. Your friends, your relatives, your parents, anyone whose email address I can locate. Until there's nothing left about you for me to detest, I won't stop. Her phone beeped at that very moment, informing her that she got a text message. I read it out loud. How soon was room 488 checked into? Guess what? It's not Bonnie. Negatively, she shook her head. Which hotel was the bastard staying at? Kristen paused. There's a slim chance that this marriage can be saved. If you can just stop lying and own up to what you did. If not, my attorney Palmer's home is the next place I should call. However, do not utter another word, not even a single syllable. You stink. Clean this area up and take a shower. Maybe when I meet you, I won't be disgusted if you use enough shampoo, soap, and hot water. After you're through, remain in the bedroom and consider the damage you've caused to our union. I'll give you a call if I want to chat. Get away of here, Kristen. My laptop displayed my wife's nude photos while I remained seated at the dining room table. For the time being, at least, my wife left the house in baggy jumper and worn-out pants. She had on a laceless pair of tennis sneakers. Should you decide to fire me, this is all the information I had before we were married. She ceased speaking and fixed her gaze on the ground. She had a pitiful appearance. Her crimson, bulging eyes looked devilish against her pallid complexion when she didn't wear cosmetics. I'm grateful. That's your first wise move of the day. Take a seat now. After looking at your camera's photos, I can see that they are identical to the ones on your website. I believe you because I've seen that bitch Bonnie's reflection in the mirror in at least 2 of them. She merely gave me a brief glance with her eyes. Both good and terrible news are with me. I called my IT department the same individuals you constantly laugh about. They said, "Boss, what can we do?" after I told them what you done. It dawned on me today that they detested you because of the patronizing manner in which you perceived them. They leaped at the chance to exact revenge. They must be appreciating the photos of you that you have now. Kristen began to cry once more. You don't have to worry about everyone knowing that you're a slut. My reputation in this community is important to me. They threatened to take down the website at any moment. Could you believe it? You have received over 250,000 views while nude. The largest issue is webmasters who take photographs from other websites and post them on their own. A practice known as poaching. They claimed that this image of you, which is available on more than 100 websites, is the most popular. But I said so be it, provided your address and name are kept private. Their talents need to be used for other, more urgent tasks. My computer screen went dark at that very time. I'm grateful, Kristen said. You know that Bonnie was the one behind your affair since I've read all of your emails. She persuaded you to visit this website, which is designed for spouses searching for infidelity. Kirsten gave a nod in agreement. The amount of betrayal I feel over what you wrote to that predator about me and our marriage is beyond words. I didn't know you were hated. I started crying so much that I was unable to complete my sentence. Kristen experienced numbness. Her mouth was hanging wide, waiting for words to escape. I muttered, burying my face in my hands. I thought you loved me. I love you, Kristen sobbed as she knelt and placed her head in my lap. More than all in the world, I love you. Without you, I can't picture my life. I said, I read every word you wrote as I raised her face. I had only ever seen her face with that expression when I had to break the news to my mother that my dad had died in a car accident. She was still physically present. However, everything that shaped her identity was lost. That's how we sat for quite some time, until her phone beeped with another text. Bonnie sent it? Enjoying yourself? I showed Kristen what I had. She made no response at all. I got up and hurled the phone as hard as I could against the wall. Glass and plastic fragments flew across the space. I took a seat again and brought out a chair for Kristen. I wanted no more of her touching me. After breaking into that cunt's computer, the boys discovered a ton of photos of her having sex with someone other than her husband. She appears to have had at least 3 extramarital romances with guys she met on an unfaithful wife website over the past 2 years. She ought to have been punished for what she did to us. All of her email addresses, work, family, and personal, were sent those photos of her. If her husband doesn't bother to show up on Monday, I can fire him, is that right? The boys did something to her computer that rendered it unusable as anything more than a doorstop, just in case she kept nude photos of you. I stopped typing. I instructed the boys to also shatter her phone. I did not enjoy getting even. Instead, I experienced tumultuous feelings and I briefly shut down. Sitting bent over in her chair, Kristen was silent. When I was at ease enough to talk, I went on. Additionally, the lads broke into the bastard's computer. They discovered an email he sent to 6 men boasting that he planned to set up cameras in the hotel room so they could witness him having live sex with his new whore. You nearly rose to fame as an online porn star. Karen clutched her neck and began to cough once more, but this time her stomach was empty. Things are improving. In addition, he took great pride in lying to you about having a vasectomy, and neglected to notify you that he had a new herpes sore. He was therefore planning to try to conceive you this weekend and give you an incurable sexual condition. How wonderful a prince among men, I remarked mockingly. Karen started to fall off the chair, so I lifted her up. She appeared listless and breathed laboriously. After carrying her over to the couch, I put her down. She snapped out of it when she felt a blast of cold water on her face. I helped her sit up and took a sip after passing her a glass. I'm too foolish to live, so please let me die. It was everything I could do not to throw my arms around her and reassure her that everything would be all right. Rather, I went on. The guys attached a malicious worm to emails they sent to the PCs that were meant to be your target audience. They will never again look at anything on those boxes. I then gave the go-ahead for the dirt to be burned in the bastard's face. Pictures of him having sex with 3 more ladies were discovered on his computer. He didn't seem to mind that they looked like ancient whores gone sour. It makes sense why he worked so hard to persuade you not to care about our vows of matrimony. Kristen muttered, I can't believe how stupid I am, and hung her head. This world-traveling businessman, I hope I'm not shattering your illusions, works as an assistant manager at a hardware store in a small Wisconsin town. Would you believe that he serves on the school board and is a deacon at his church? Kristen sighed once more. Unfortunately for him, his church, like the PTA, has a membership roster. They made a PowerPoint presentation with a country song about a cheating spouse just for laughs, and they distributed it to everyone. In Wisconsin, it caused many people's eyes to explode out of their heads. They destroyed his phone and computer as well, which made all of his photos of you vanish. But my all-time favorite: the fact that the guys broke into the credit card company's network and reported that all of the bastard's cards, including the one he used to reserve your love nest, had been taken, is absolutely insane. His identity theft is the subject of multiple outstanding arrest warrants, and I'm not even interested in finding out what they did. The warrants state that he should be treated as armed and dangerous. He ought to be taken into custody right now. I'm hoping he'll fight back. I have an assurance from the guys that this will be the main story on the evening news. Upon exiting, he will discover that his 15-year-old SUV has been towed due to unpaid parking fines. His wife has probably been getting calls like crazy, so I doubt he'll be released on bond very soon. Fortunately, they are childless. His wife is married to a piece of human garbage who attempted to ruin our marriage, and I almost feel bad for her. I don't truly regret anything I did to shield the lady I love from a predator, so almost isn't the correct term. And by everything sacred, any man who tries to steal my wife will get my retribution, and I won't stop until he is destroyed. Kristen remarked, "Does that mean I'm still your wife?" with a weak smile. "Do you still wish to be one?" I gave my favorite wife a smile. Her eyes gleamed. "Truly, truly, truly, 1,000 times over. I want to be your wife forever. I'll stop at nothing to make it right with you. Please give me another opportunity. You won't be sorry." She put her arms around me and kissed me profusely. "I want to live with you for the rest of my life as your wife. I truly apologize for hurting you. I considered jumping over our balcony when I saw the expression on your face. Not only were the photos upsetting, but I also felt guilty for betraying the man I loved. I will not be dishonest. I won't be able to trust you for a very long time," I answered. "I'm saved by you. You prevented me from becoming disloyal and breaking my promise to abandon everyone else. You are my salvation and my hero. I vouch for the fact that I will never again give you cause for mistrust. I am very sorry for hurting you. Are you still in love with me?" Her voice trembled as she asked. "In the same way that day you honored me by being my spouse, my partner, and my one and only love. The only man I've ever loved is you. I've only ever experienced closeness with you, man, and for the rest of our lives I will say it every single day. Will you ever have the capacity to forgive me? I'm sorry, my spouse. Although I've always known you love me, I wasn't aware of just how much until today." I responded, "You are going to have to make a lot of changes. I want you to never converse to that homewrecker again, or text him or her in any other way, starting with Bonnie. Move on if you see her out in public. I promise you this. I'll go to any lengths to keep our marriage intact. There is no third opportunity, thus it goes without saying that you should never associate with that scoundrel ever again. I pledge that I will never put our marriage at jeopardy with him or anybody else." My fingers swept across her hair. "It's almost time for supper. Are you well enough to consume some food?" I inquire. "May I give you a kiss first?" For the next 15 minutes, our tongues got to know one another. "Put on some clothes now." The world's most beautiful and understanding husband. What should I wear? "The things I got you for our most recent anniversary have always pleased me. Similar to the ones shown in the photo, just like it looks in the picture." "As you like," my wife said, blushing. Conclusion: after 2 years, our marriage is stronger than ever. I have never seen my sweetie so happy, and we are about 6-9 months away from becoming parents. She really is radiant, despite how cheesy it may sound. Bonnie never got back to Kristen. In response to Kristen's entreaties, I decided not to terminate Bonnie's husband. After the divorce, Randy was granted custody of their 10-year-old son and demonstrated his exceptional ability as a single father with the support of his mother. He had developed his abilities at work as well, turning into a devoted worker. After spending 2 weeks in Cook County Jail, the bastard was eventually able to untangle the resentment the boys had directed towards him. He never had a visit from his ex-wife, and she never returned his calls. He lost his job, his wife, and his house when he was let out of jail. Regretfully, the boys turned him into one of their hobbies, and as a result, his credit history is constantly a disaster. His SS number and identity appear to be being used by at least 3 evildoers. He currently resides in a rusted SUV that consistently receives traffic citations. He works on his route as well, delivering newspapers at 5 in the morning. I'm curious if he is aware that his license has been revoked. You could wonder who sent me this letter. I suppose I did, with a great deal of assistance. I'd seen a difference in Kristen's conduct for several weeks. She also kept herself very quiet. I started to suspect she was cheating on me. I eventually swallowed my pride and told my men 2 of the smartest computer geeks I've ever met all of this. The kid's PC, which the loving parents use, now has spyware planted on it. The day before things were meant to fall apart, they heard that the bastard had talked her into it. After sitting down at the table, we spoke about our alternatives and went through her emails. A clever scheme to keep my marriage intact was taking shape. Since the boys may have broken a few rules and would prefer that their magic never be used, I can't reveal how it turned out. Furthermore, Kristen's photos were never added to the Hoary Wives website. The website that the guys created was limited to my laptop. They gave me instructions on how to use it to simulate being online. It was a hook, line, and sinker kind of bait. Additionally,